was sitting there not talking because hey, this football team, I know I have to redo this video. It's bad. Hopefully it doesn't come in. Hi people, it's your girl Shawty coming your way from a friends with another wonderful video. If this is your first time, I really hope you enjoy this video because it's specially made for you. And if it is not, thank you so much for helping me reach 1K subscribers. I am so grateful, you have no idea. This journey has not gotten anywhere yet, and I am feeling the love from each and every one of you. And I'll start mentioning you by name because y'all be making me feel you too much. As usual, if you haven't hit the subscribe button and you want to stay updated on all things Haida, that bell button is also there. Hit subscribe and hit the bell button so that you can stay updated on all my exclusive videos. Don't miss out on this goodness. You don't want to do that to yourself. Today's video has all kinds of flavors because it's touching on many themes that are dear to my heart. It talks about high school, it talks about love, it talks about same love. And I am really excited and yet a little anxious to share this. I am hoping that it doesn't become a whole thing because I think love, regardless of gender, should be celebrated. And so if you guys are going to take this story and make anything out of it, make sure it's something beautiful, something productive, something inspiring. If you turn it into something ugly, somebody will do the same to you. It's a beautiful story that happened to me. If you don't think it's beautiful, take your opinion and put it in your pocket. Fair? If you come for me in the comments, I'll come for you as well. Okay, let's get straight to it. So this situation happened in maybe 2013 or 2014. I can't say for sure. But I was a high school girl by then. I was in Kobo Girls. And I was a very strong Christian girl. Since Form 1, I was very prayerful. I was a part of the scripture union. I was in Pensa. I was in the SDA sub club. Every single thing Christian, I was actively involved in. So it was no surprise that I was in line to become president of Scripture Union. I was that criff. Let that be established. At the same time, as you can tell from my name, I'm coming from a highly Muslim background. And I had to really sit down, research and soul search in order to decide whether or not Islam was for me. I found that it wasn't, and then I migrated to Christianity. So in high school, it was the same thing. I had reached that juncture with Christianity where I had a lot of questions. At the same time, I was doubtful about my motivations towards Christianity. I realized that I was only Christian because I didn't want to go to hell. And I don't think it's any reason to stay with any religion. So I was also going through what Christianity meant to me and whether I wanted to stick with that and all of that. With all that being said, I've always known that my sexuality did not fit in the traditional box of mother, father, forever. It didn't always look like that for me, even when I was 8 or 9 years. But it was a part of me I repressed because I was afraid of judgment, I was afraid of condemnation, I was afraid of stigmatization, I was afraid of being disowned, and I was also afraid of burning in hellfire. Until this girl came along. This girl sent by God or Satan, I don't know, but then the first time I saw her, I was in Form 2. She was a year lower than I was, and for some reason that term I decided to try out for cadets, I think. I decided to try out for the cadets in my school. So I went for one of their drills and there she was. She was like the starting point because she was so tall. And I knew she was a junior and she was in the science class, but that was about it. I was the next person in line with her. You guys need to understand this thing about me. I am very upbeat. I can't dance to save my life. I can't sing in tune. I can't do any of that. You know, God can't give you everything. And that is where I am severely impaired. So I'm standing with this girl. She's really pretty, right? And she's tall. And her backside is a little, and she was in a tracksuit. I was taking notice, but I wasn't taking notice even in any sexual or romantic way. I was just appreciating God's creation. I realized that she was having the time of her life with me. She was just making fun of all my mistakes. She looked like a reserved person, but at that time it was clear I was making a fool of myself and she was loving it. So that was our first ever encounter. I started noticing her on and off. So I asked about her around and I learned her name was, let's call her Talata. There was nobody in my school called Talata, so I feel like it's safe to say Talata. Talata was in a different house and she was my junior in the science class. She was also in the cadet team. She's tall, voluptuous. I was 1 year her senior, but we were around the same age. So we just didn't do anything about it. We were just going on with our lives. Until I realized that she started coming for scripture union meetings. She started showing up for dawn prayers. I just kept an eye on her because, she's tall. You can pick her out of a crowd. This day, she went and became friends with my school daughter. I don't know how it happened. I came into my dormitory and she was sitting on my bed with my school daughter, Kiki. I walk in, I put down my bag, I am introduced, and she kind of enters my fold in that way, through my school daughter. So she becomes one of the familiar faces in my dorm. Let's fast forward to this day in Krobo Girls, where the school chaplain decided we were having a 3-day revival, plus fasting and prayers. So no prep for us, but we all, whether you're a Muslim, Christian, non-believer, traditionalist, whatever, had to report to the assembly hall in order to take part in a revival session. I had decided at that point in my Christian journey that there was a lot that I was wrestling with, so I wasn't going to perform Christianity if I wasn't being watched. On that day, I decided I was not going to go for the revival. I was going to lock myself up in an empty dorm and go to sleep. So I shared this idea with my school daughter, Angela. Come and watch this video, and when you hear I mentioned your name, comment it down there. Unu. Angela and I decided we won't go. Then Talata says she will also not go. I'm in my dormitory in the evening and Angela comes with Talata. We have dinner, we're just chilling out. Then Angela goes to bed. She falls asleep on my bed. I used to sleep on the up bed even though I was a senior because I like the fresh air. And the view from Krobo Girls, everybody will tell you, is spectacular. I could see it from my window, so I like the up bed. So I am sitting at the bottom of the bunk bed in the dormitory with Talata. And like I said, she doesn't really talk. So we are both just sitting there, and she has really nice eyes. You know them doe-shaped eyes. Those are how her eyes look like. We are sitting there just, I don't know, sitting around. Then she takes my hand and puts it on her chest. Me not knowing what I was doing, I added my other hand and I started, exploring. We started kissing. It was hot, it was heavy. It was like the second kiss I had ever had. I had no idea what I was doing, but it felt so right and yet it felt so wrong. And I was confused, and Angela was just up above us. And I forget all of that by the second minute into the kiss because she had pulled me down on the bed and she was like kissing me, and I was also trying to kiss her back and all of that. And finally, my hands found their way down her skirt. Then she hit my hand. That was my first encounter in the dark with Talata. There were 2 or 3 other encounters after which I decided that no, I have to sit down and analyze what is happening. I am sort of fucking a girl. I had to admit to myself that I had come full circle with my sexuality, where I was manifesting my desires with a student. And I didn't know if it was a good idea because I was still very criff, and I was Scripture Union Vice President by then. She was also very criff, or she had become very criff, and she was in line for some positions. So it all seemed very dicey, but she didn't seem to care. So I'll be in my room sleeping, and then a friend of hers will come and say, Talata is calling you. I walk to this girl's dormitory, and she has pitched a tent around her bunk bed. Now, for those of you who didn't maybe go to boarding school, you went to day, or they didn't pitch tent in your boarding school. Pitching a tent is simply using bed sheets to shroud your bed if you are in the lower bank. So it makes it look like you are in a 4-poster enclosure, very private. She would pitch a tent around her bed and send a friend to come and call me that she's sick. And then I will go and she's lying there naked in her tent. While you can hear the girls go up and down in her dormitory, some are singing, some are dancing. This girl wants me to enter her tent and fuck her. It was a very scary moment for me, but it was also a very defining moment because I realized that I really wanted her. And I didn't just want her physically. I wanted her to be my girlfriend. I wanted to buy her things. I wanted to serenade her. I wanted to write her letters. That got terrifying. So one day, it was a Sunday and we were at church service. Then she came to sit by me. So we started writing in my Sunday school notebook. If I can find it, I'm sure I can find it. I'll put up pictures. So I just write, Talata, what are we doing? Then she writes back, I don't know. And I'm like, we need to stop. We are Christians. Then she writes why. So we never verbally said what we were doing out loud, but we had a lot of conversations in my Sunday school notebook. Writing became our way of communication. Every time she would come to my class during prep, we just like write each other notes. She'd write, I'd write, she'd write, I'd write. So we had a relationship of sorts. She was like my girlfriend. And those who knew. It was a really nice, bittersweet relationship because around that time, one of my seniors was suspended because she was caught kissing another girl. And so it was also getting very scary to be queer on campus. At the same time, I felt like our relationship was growing obvious. In month 3 of our relationship, which is also like homegoing month because the term was about to end, we were one day in my dormitory just chilling out. I was asking her what her plans for the vacation was, and she said nothing much and all of that. I come home, we don't talk, nothing. She doesn't even reach out to me, nothing. I'm just there with my life and my face and myself off, whatever. I see on Facebook that she actually has a full-blown boyfriend that she was having a whole moment with online. And it crushes me. It really breaks my heart. I felt so used. But who did I have to talk to about it? So we went back to school and I started avoiding her and she started doing same until I graduated. It's not a happy story, but it's a true life story. It was my first relationship with a woman. It was very scary because I was making a religious transition. I know I love her deeply. We connected after high school. She had evolved to accept that side of her sexuality. We have a relationship of sorts these days, but it's nothing like how it was in high school. If you watch this Talata, I'm just celebrating us and our story and how it was. I didn't tell you I saw you with a boy and that's why I was hurt, but if you're seeing the video, now you know. Thank you guys for watching and listening to my story. As I said, spin this story in a positive light. It is a positive story that celebrates young love. That is all it is. And make sure you carry that message or the spirit of that message everywhere you retell the story. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe down there. I'll see you again next week with another exciting video. Thank you for staying through to the end. It's been your girl Suhaida. Love you so much. Goodbye.